My name is Adedoyin Omolara. I'm a young lady doing my thing in my space, capturing today's story for tomorrow and also for peaceful coexistence.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
I'm a graduate of French and International Studies from Osun State University, then later proceeded for my master's at the University of Ibadan in Peace and Conflict Studies. So right now I'm a development worker. I work in the non-governmental organization, mostly into peace building, human rights, election, and democratic governance. And that has been my key interest, and those areas have been my focus area. So I would say that's me.
Those your focus areas is what we are going to be focusing on in today's conversation. Because it is good that you talk about what you love. All right, before getting there now, help us understand a little bit about your background. So you were born and grew up. Tell me what you see around you as a young lady. I know you are still a young lady today, but tell me when you were much younger then.
Well, I was born into the family of five. My mom happens to be a Christian and my dad happens to be a Muslim. So growing up, I got to see kind of a clash of interest because of religion in both. So oftentimes, all of us have to go to Arabic school, and my mom had to go to church, which my dad didn't really settle with that. In the long run, they got divorced because of that. Well, that's what we all know of. So they got divorced because of that. But along the line, myself and two of my immediate other ones, we became a Christian, where others are Muslim. So with that, growing up for me, I feel that the issue of religion or tribal should not be a problem. We should see ourselves as one. I am a Christian, I am a Muslim, but we are all Nigerians. So when I get to ask myself that who is in Nigeria, the answer is not about the president, it's not the governor, it's about whosoever I see in the mirror whenever I look at myself. That is who in Nigeria is. So I am Adedoyin Omolara. I am a Nigerian, I am a Christian. My brother happens to be a Muslim. He's also in Nigeria. So because of difference in our religion does not mean that I should not love him. Does not mean that we should not have a peaceful coexistence. So I would just say that growing up for me, I've just tried to take a lesson from that and inculcate that into my lifestyle.
That's very interesting. That is more like the entire history of Nigeria sum up now. Because that is what we think our problem is in most of the cases, that because one is Yoruba, the other guy is Igbo, the other guy is Hausa, we should be fighting for that. But nobody have said, because you are a Yoruba now, me and an Igbo, the other guy is Hausa, this can be an advantage for us, meaning we can solve our problem from the advantages of the Yoruba, the advantages of the Igbo, the advantages of the Hausa. This can actually become a point of strength for the country. Because we'll be wasting our time fighting, but maybe it's time to start, like you said, no? Those things should not actually be a problem. It really is not a problem. It's we that make it problem. But anyway, we like this solution. Now, I would like us to spend some time there because, like I said, this is like the story of Nigeria summed up. So, when you were still growing up, your father and your mother are still together and they have not yet divorced. Tell me about the conversation you have in the house, both about the Nigerian identity, look upon also from the point of view of religion. What did you hear them talk about most often?
Well, I think as a child, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've actually seen the two of them together to talk about that. Actually, because oftentimes it has always been an issue of arguments because you went to church, why shouldn't I go? That kind of a thing. And I didn't really see them together having that conversation. But well, growing up for me, like I said, I have to rewrite my story. I saw a different story from my parents' perspective, which I feel that it's not good enough. I have to rewrite mine. No matter what your tribe is, no matter your religion, I will love you despite. So it's not about tribe or religion now. It's about the person of that individual. It's not because this person is able, this person is a Muslim, that's why this person is behaving in a particular way. No, it's about the character, the person of an individual. So we shouldn't just judge people because this is evil. I'm not going to tolerate the person. I'm not going to be friends with the person. No. You try to get to know the person first. The person might actually be a very sweet soul. But because there is a stereotype that this person is a Muslim, so Muslim behave in so way. This person is a Christian. Christians behave in so way. This person is Igbo. We tend to know Igbo with this. We tend to know Yoruba with this. No, we should just erase that stereotype and focus on what will be better for our lives and what will be better for a peaceful coexistence amongst us.
That's very interesting and also very promising. And also from the point of view of looking at you as a young woman who is informed both academically and also from the point of view of experience, lay down the argument like that, it looks very promising for a country like Nigeria because we don't have any other hope other than our younger generation. They are the leaders of tomorrow, not just to make it look sweet in the ear. That is really the effective truth of it. This is the reality of it. So I have hope in our younger generation if they can manage to understand that the other one who have played the game of tribalism have failed us in this sense. So we must learn to evaluate issue, take it by what it is, able to evaluate it, able to think critically, able to understand that before the flag of Nigeria, all of us are equal. Before the national item of Nigeria, all of us are equal. There is no sacred cow. So we must help ourselves to understand this. And when we understand it, we can shape a better future for ourselves, irrespective of where you are coming from in this country. All right, before we move into the argument of today, which is about democracy and good governance, I'm still trying to understand now, as you were still growing up now, still try to sort of filter out the argument that you hear now among your peers, your friends. What kind of argument do they have related to the Nigeria identity, the Nigeria of all of us, the Nigeria that we know? Tell me about, I'm trying to see if anything could have sort of trigger you into doing what you are doing today, whether because you like it or because somebody pushed you or because of what you hear. So tell me about what you were hearing your friends saying about the Nigeria identity.
Well, what I do now, the space I find myself now, it's not because I was being pushed. It's not because someone forced me to study this particular field. No, it's what I actually have interest in, and along the line, I found myself in it. Actually, aspiring to enter university, everybody wants to be a lawyer, everybody wants to be a doctor. I actually aspired to be a lawyer. Well, I didn't get admission into law, so I was given French and International Studies. In my mind, I was like, French, out of all countries, where do I start from? I don't even know how to say good morning, whatever it is in French. But I started, and it took me about 2 to 3 years before I got interest, before I found interest in learning French language. I was in 300 level, second semester, going to my final year before I started having interest in French language. So it means that I've actually lost some years not having interest in that particular language. But because it's not just French, it's the French and international studies. So the international study part of it actually helped my CGPA. But the French part of it, I was having carryovers because I did not have interest in it. But as at 2014, we went to French village in Badagry. I started seeing some things about French. I was like, oh, French is this sweet, you know. And I started finding interest in it. Then we came back, there was a strike. I used the opportunity to just travel to the Francophone country to learn more about that. So leaving the university, I've actually aspired to be in development sector to work with an NGO. Though that has been my dream, though I started in education. So I started teaching French, going for a service at NYC. I served with the Nigerian Army, Amos in Bauchi, served there as a French instructor. Then from there, taught at Nigerian Army School, taught as French, worked as French instructor also. Then it was in the process of teaching or working as a French instructor. That's when I got an offer to Clean Foundation. Is an NGO in Abuja, which is into security sector. That's when I got an offer as an intern to intern with them. That was after my master's. So after my master's, I decided that I can't just have a master's certificate without practicing. So I decided to apply for internship for no governmental organization. And that was how I got into the development sector. And working there as an intern with the Clean Foundation, that was why I got to find more, discover more about myself, aside from teaching. So I could love being on the field. I could love practicing as election. I practiced in elections, so I monitored the Ondo and Edo State election. That was 2020. And then monitored the Anambra State election, which was last year, and this year, February, FCT area council election. And also there are a lot of projects which I played some role in, and I got to know that it's not just about influence. It's about what you want yourself. It's about your interest. And it's time we try to define what we really want for ourselves, so that if you don't, like they say that a mind that is not refined with what he or she wants, that kind of mind will easily be influenced. So the sector or the things I do now is not about a matter of place. It's a matter of what I want and my interests. So with the question of Nigeria, I think as at today is Tuesday. I think as at Monday or Sunday, I started a conversation with a friend about democratic governance, and it was like, well, as in Nigeria, we are practicing democracy, and we say we are practicing democracy, which is democracy written on a book, but not a democracy in practice. And which is that a democracy system of government is a form of government which by the supreme power is vested in people. The people decide who, like I said, it's vested in people. It's either the people rule directly or they rule indirectly by their representative, which comes through election. So now I would say that we practice an indirect democracy because our people represent us. We vote to put some people into position to represent us, to voice out our needs and wants. But as it is now, the power is supposed to be with the people, but the power is no longer with the people as it is now.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that. We're going to have time to really explore those areas because they're very important, especially as we're preparing for the 2023 election. What do you like about election, about politics, as it were?
Well, I will not say I like politics because I'm not a political person. I'm just interested in a good Nigeria that we all want. That is where my interest is. And it has to do with electoral reforms, the narrative of what the democracy is needs to be changed to the initial narrative of a democracy, not the one that is being practiced. So I'm not a political person. My interest is not in politics. My interest is seeing a better Nigeria.
All right. Now, by election, because you said something very important before we had that little break home. You were referring to election and also democracy. Now, can you help me understand what does it even mean, democracy and election? Can you give us a kind of a background of it?
Okay. Like I said earlier, a democratic governance is a form of government whereby the supremacy or the supreme power is vested in people, directly or indirectly, through representative, and that happens through periodic election. That is for democracy. That means the power is in the hand of people. The people tends to determine who they want. So it's not like an autocratic system of government whereby things are being imposed on people. This time around, people are not being forced into doing what they do not want to do. So the power is in the hand of people now. That is what democracy talks about. Democracy talks about freedom. And democracy comes with rights, right of citizen, right of participation, right to life, respect for human dignity, freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Democracy comes with those rights, which, let's say, an autocratic system of government does not give. So coming into democracy now, and democracy is the most important tool in realizing, election rather, is the most important tool in realizing or in achieving democracy. So it is, we said democracy, power is invested in people through representative. So the representative that will be in government needs to be elected by the electorate. So two of them are interwoven. In fact, they work together. You cannot have people in government representing you without electing them. And that is the rule of election. Election is transiting from leadership to another leadership through voting. People have to vote, which means that the majority has the power, not the minority.
The kind of system that we run in Nigeria is different, because I think that is where you were referring to the fact that we have democracy in book, whereas the one that we have in Nigeria is not in practice, solely in book. What can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I think one of the characteristics of democracy is participation, equality before the law, which is rule of law, effectiveness, efficiency, accountability. And I feel that with the system of government that we have now, the government itself is not being accountable. When it comes to participation, people's participation is no longer in this form of democracy. For example, as it is now, this is election season. We have Ekiti election next month, governorship election next month. We have Osun State gubernatorial election, July, and we have a general election 2023. And as at now, they haven't gone out to get their PVC. They've not gone out to get registered, which gives me that there is a question of trust between the people and the government. People no longer trust the government because, for example, if I go out now to vote, would my vote count? Oftentimes, there have been proven or there have been track record of rigged elections, rigged results. So why would I even get a PVC in the first place when I know that my vote does not even count? So that puts a question of trust and participation. People are being intimidated. People are being harassed. is it through violence or non-violence? People are being intimidated with power by these political superpowers. Elections, votes are being bought, and it shouldn't be like that. That's why I'm saying that democracy as it is not what is being practiced.
Now, based on your study, can you point to any time, maybe in the history of Nigeria, for the more than 60 years that we'll be existing as a country? Because after we got independence from the British, we can call ourselves an independent state because we sort of have elections sometimes that we run. Okay, I want to take it from you that in most of the cases, this election, people don't really count. Can you point to maybe a point in a time in our history where democracy was actually functioning as a system, as a process, so that it's different from what we have today in 2022?
I'm trying to think, but I think since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, that's as at May 29, 1999, Nigeria has continued to struggle on its delivery on governance, democratic governance. So I will not say there has been a time whereby there's a track record of a successful democracy, no. And going back to 2003, 2007, 2015, 2019 election so far, it has been marred by some either violence or rigged election and all that. So far, we've not had a track record of a successful or a free and fair election.
Okay, please go.
Vote will be bought. So that puts a question of accountability. So if that particular government gets into power, there's no accountability. There is no participation. There is no citizens' interest. So to me, that is not democracy. And so oftentimes, since the beginning of Fourth Republic, 1999, even when the Constitution was established to now, I don't think there has been a track record of a good election or a good democratic government.
All right, now let's look at the case like an egg and the chicken. Is the fact that we don't have a free and fair election? Okay, free and fair election actually is something that is very difficult in most countries. Even in the United States, the elections still need to be contested in most of the cases, which of course explains that democracy is a process that we're continuously experimenting. There is no better system yet than democracy, so that is why it's sort of appeared as if it's a pure system, but it's not really very pure as it were if we go to understand it, how it functions. But in Nigeria, we are just too far from where the average is. Where do we have this problem of democracy? Is it in the electoral process or in the administration, the law, the constitution that set up the process itself?
Well, it's a two-way thing. Firstly, I will say the problem is the people, we, ourselves. And the problem is ignorance of the mind. During Edo and Ondo State election, votes have been bought with as low as 200 naira, 500 naira. And in my mind, I was like, hello, how will someone look at me and walk up to me and give me 500 naira to vote for him? How much is 500? What is 500 naira? What can 500 naira do in my life? Which means down to that we as people, our mind is being, our mindset needs to change. We need to know what we want as people. That is number one problem, ignorance. Because as my person, you cannot walk up to me and give 500 naira to buy vote. I will question that. I know what I want. If you are not a person of my interest, if I do not see value in what you want to bring, or during your campaign or during your manifesto, if I do not see value in what you want to bring into the Nigerian system, I will not vote for you. No matter what you offer to give, I will not even collect it, not to even of giving you my vote. So I think the problem is poverty of the mind, because when the mind is being renewed, even the Bible says that our mind needs to be renewed. When your mind is being renewed, when you know what you want, when you know yourself, when you know your worth and value as a citizen of this country, no politician will walk up to you and buy your vote. No politician will walk up to you and influence your decision or influence your thoughts. When people agree to sell their votes, it means that the process is being marred. The process is being interrupted. So what do you expect from that kind of administration? So I feel the people is a major problem. Since it is being put that the power is vested in people, not in the hands of politicians.
All right. I like this part very well. I like it. It's a very interesting angle in the argument, no? That the people actually are the problem. You know, this sort of go to confirm the saying that the people deserve the kind of leadership that they get. Because I do believe, I have said it in a number of occasions, that if the Nigerian people were pure, it would be impossible for them to produce a corrupt leader, because the leader is going to represent them. So how can you that is corrupt represent pure people?
Exactly.
So actually the Nigerian people are corrupt. That is why they produce corrupt leaders. So if that is the case, what can we do as a people?
Well, number one, as a people, particularly the youth, because the youth are being used can be used in two ways: a positive instrument and a negative instrument. And from our track record, youth has been used as political thoughts. But for the youth now, and as a youth, particularly myself, we are ambitious, we are promising, we are energetic, we have this zeal of enthusiasm. With all these things put together, then let's put our strength into advocating for a better Nigeria. And as it is now, I think the narrative is changing with the experience we have with the NSAS protest. When the youth can come together as one to voice for a particular change, we all see that there was a change. There was a change in the policy reform. So I feel that we as a youth, we need to participate positively, not negatively this time around. We need to channel our energy into becoming better, into a Nigeria that is promising for us. And between 2020 and now, if you look at the ratio of youths that have traveled out of the country, it's quite amazing, because almost all of them have even lost hope of finding purpose in this country. But the truth is, there is purpose here. You can find a purpose here, you can achieve it here, you can live your dream here in this country. But the work lies with us. The work lies with our voice. The work lies with our participation. The work lies with our votes. And as it is, that the narrative is changing. The narrative is changing. The youth really need to go out to get their PVC. They need to go out to get to vote. Because as it is now, I don't think people's minds are really determined. People do not want to sell their vote anymore. So now we need
and of the selling of the vote, I think that is even very important now, because we're talking of the process. If the process actually is working, if democracy as an experiment is something that we need to invest in, if the government or if the corrupt politicians in Nigeria are buying vote, it's a sign, it's a good sign that the process can actually work. Which means if the people can refuse to be bought, then they can actually control their destiny. Because if they don't buy votes, it means the process is not working. So we need to look for alternative. I currently speak in 2022, there is no better alternative to democracy. So it's something that we need to shape. It is not a pre-planned strategy for you just go and live. It's an experiment. We are going to shape it. So I'm trying to see the responsibility in it here, your responsibility my responsibility, the responsibility of the individual Nigerian. So when you take up newspaper in Nigeria, in Abuja, you're in Abuja, you listen to podcasts, you listen to news in the evening, or you are in a bar, you hear people talking. The average Nigerian, how do you scan the conversation? What do you hear them saying? Do you see any hope that they are willing to do something different? 2023 election?
To be sincere with you, like I said earlier, the conversation is changing. The narrative is really, really changing. And I think a whole lot of organizations, like civil society organizations, have stepped up their game, in which that a whole lot of sensitization and mobilization have been going on. And the funnest thing and the most amazing thing is the people are turning up. Unlike before, the people will not even come out. They'll be like, what are you people doing? If we are not sharing money, we are not coming. But this time around, there is a turn up of people to be interested. I think during the FCT area council election that we all went out for mobilization, we went to Duse Market here in Abuja, and a whole lot of people are eager to vote. So I think what we will need to do better as an organization, which we're already doing, because I stated earlier that the problem is the people, and that is the problem of their ignorance. I think what we need to do and to do more is more of sensitization and to encourage them, which has to start with the community that we live in. We have to start with the community that we live in, with our friends, with our family, with our community members. Engage them in conversations, encourage them, let them see the importance of their vote. Let them know that their vote has power. Let them know that their participation carries so much significant power. And with that, the narrative will change. And as it is now, people are really eager to turn things around, because now a whole lot of things is increasing. The prices in goods, the prices in food that we eat, the prices in transportation is increasing drastically on a daily basis. And whereas salaries are not increasing. So someone is collecting 40,000 as of 3 years ago, is still collecting 40,000 naira now. And a mudu of rice now is about 1,000 plus. It means that, and then a mudu of rice was about, I remember there was a time we were buying a mudu of rice for 500, and now it's like ×2 of it now. I mean, something needs to be done. And people are tired, and that is the truth. The people are tired. They want something new. They want the atmosphere to be refreshing for them. Everyone wants to go out and come back in, have food in your house, have money in your purse.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you if the people really realize the fact, one thing is to have power. Another thing is to know that you have power, no? But if you don't know that you have power, okay, let's use something more practical. One thing is to know that around you there are water. Another thing is to actually have water, no? But if you don't know that you have water around you, you can actually be dying of thirst, no? But if you know that you have, you cannot die of thirst when there is water around you. To the Nigerian people, from your experience, from your study, because you're an expert in this area, and from the conversation you have among the people, do the people know that they actually own the power, that they actually have power? Or are they with this conventional way of thinking that they are powerless? They are powerless. They know that they are powerful, that they can change something, that their vote count, that they can decide, actually that they are deciding who can be their leader, that they have the power to do that instead of selling it out? Do they know?
I think if you ask me this question as of 2018, 2019, I would have said they do not know. At least I would say a higher percentage of them do not know. A higher percentage, as a then, I would say a higher percentage of them just do it because they say we should do it. Let's do it. But now, after the EndSARS protest, again, a whole lot of things has changed. People's eyes has been opened and they have been enlightened. So now, I think a lower percentage, even those that are not literate, understand the power in their vote. Even those, they understand. So I would say now that people are being enlightened. They know the value they carry with their PVC. They know that already. And to the lower percentage that do not know, a step is being taken to sensitize them. We cannot just say that because we have a certain figure of people that know that, oh, I have the power to change this, I have the power to change that. We shouldn't just relent. We need to push out and encourage others to let them know that with your vote, we can make things happen. I will say that some percentage of people know, at least, let me say about 70% know, and the 30% remaining that do not know is what we need to work on as an individual ourselves. We shouldn't just leave that responsibility to some organizations. We need to do that ourselves. And like I said earlier, it has to start with us as an individual. We need to be the evangelist of that. Start with your friends, ask your friends, have you gotten your PVC? Have you registered? Ask your family members if they have not. I think now INEC has made things easier for all of us. You can register online. Then you go to a nearby INEC office closer to you for capturing and to get your card. It's quite easier now than then that you have to queue, you have to wait for months to get the process done. Now it's quite easier. Just go online, register, get a nearby INEC office closer to your place, go there for capturing and get your card. It's as simple as that. But I think some people still do not know this process. So, and like I said earlier, in the aspect of intimidation, and some people are being intimidated, or if they were being intimidated or they were being harassed, which has actually made them make some decisions that they're not going to vote anymore, or probably change their opinion about the importance or how the power their vote carries. And a whole lot of them have met with a whole lot of them, wired on the field, sensitizing people, and they get to voice their mind that during the previous election, we vote, and still nothing was being accounted for. And we have to talk to them that this time around, the narrative is changing. The power is now with the people, and we have to make that effect. And we need to make them understand that they have the power. And they also have the responsibility to that. There's a difference when you know that you have power and you are not being responsive to that. There's two different. I know that my PVC, I know that my vote has power. I have my PVC, but I can decide not to go and vote. That is me not being responsive to the power that I have at hand. So we need to let them know that there's a difference that you get registered. There's a difference that you have a PVC. The most important thing is to put that to use, which is a different talk now.
What about the monitoring of the election? Because it's a full process. I know that in the electoral discussion is something that we have during election and immediately after election. But after that, we don't talk about it anymore until the election come again. In fact, the kind of politician that we have today, they really are lovers of people during the election. But when the election is over, they forget the people. They don't talk about it again. All right. Now, I'm looking at what about the monitoring? Because actually for democracy to work, we are going to monitor it from the day we start talking of democracy, electing people into office, listening to what they said they are going to do, getting them there, and making sure that we monitor what they are doing until they leave office. Because it's a project, it's a very long project. It is not just electing you are getting to the office, that is done. No. You say you are going to do something. You got there on the basis of a promise.
Yeah.
That promise didn't end when you get to office. It ends until you leave office. Are you fulfilling it? So I think this is a part of the responsibility of the people to hold their elected officials accountable for what they say they will do. So on this monitoring aspect, can you share anything with us?
We actually agree with what you said, and as you were just talking, something actually crossed my mind that I wish our legislative, there could be a way they could put that into our constitution and make it a law that as a political aspirant, by the time you get into power, we need to go back to your promises, your agenda, the things you promised to do. And if you do not do that, or you do not do 80% of what you promised to do, there should be sanction on them. I think if they know that there is a sanction at the end of my tenure, and if this thing is not being done, I will be queried. I think that will actually help them step up their game. But on their so for that to implement or to monitor that, I feel that it's in the hands of the legislative and the people. And when I say the legislative, the people have been represented in the legislative too. So I think that should be one of the things that people should state that they want. You know, a whole lot of time when politicians come out to campaign, I will do this, I will do this, I will do that. And by the time they get into position, they forget the people that vote for them. And they are not being accountable to the people again. And where civil society organizations, I think this civil society organizations should come in, because they serve as checks. And I think with the help of legislative too, because and I think the problem we have in the country is that a whole lot of things are being raised, but the problem we have is implementation. The problem we have is implementation. By the time because the power of civil society organization is being limited. Society organization can only suggest an opinion, can only recommend. They cannot enforce that into power. They cannot enforce that into law. So the power still boils down to our legislature.
What about this idea of recording what is happening and showing it? No, because now it has become very difficult for them to keep certain lies. No, because during the electoral period, during the electoral manifestos, they will say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, before you don't have records of it. No, we hear that a lot of rumors. Maybe some people need to organize themselves and say, okay, you say you're going to do this. They just write everything out, record you, they will put it out there. As you get to the office, we'll start reminding you. Because I believe that if we are waiting for certain law to be enacted to make sure that the people are held accountable, it's not going to happen. Because it's like you are telling the people, set a trap to catch you. It's not going to happen because it's just not going to happen. But if the people can organize themselves to police the politicians, I think they will, because you cannot really hide if the people know what they want from you and they are ready to stand their ground for it. You see, I think it was in the administration of Obasanjo, where, was it Obasanjo or Goodluck Jonathan, where the fuel price was raised. For the first time, all Nigerians stood their ground that it's not going to pass. I think, was it 65 naira? And they had to return back price to the earlier price. What it basically means is that any time, any singular day that the Nigerian people stand their ground, the politician must bend, because the power actually belongs to the people. But if the people are divided, you are just taking this part, I'm taking that part, the other way taking that part, you cannot find your way. So I'm still very key on this monitoring aspect, on the trying to make sure that we hold our leaders accountable. That, take for example, the issue of electricity in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1999, I usually say this often, when we return to our fourth republic, no, the democracy that we have today, our problem were already well stated. We knew what our problem was infrastructure. We need light in Nigeria. We even education, everything. We have major problem there. But some of the basic one we needed the government to solve them, like roads, electricity. So if there are be the people have organized themselves to be say, okay, you say you are going to do this related to electricity, because first of all, we even need to know how much, what do we even need in terms of electricity? Do we even really have a statistics of what we need to power the Nigerian economy? How much of this are you going to provide in your administration? Because your success and failure is going to be based on this.
Yeah.
So this is where I think we need to maybe work more, or how to keep record of everything they say and keep sharing it to remind them, because they quickly forget. They don't remember the big promises.
Yes, I think you are really right, actually. And the truth is, we'll give you the solution to that. If some set of people can be shadowed with that responsibility of monitoring, from the campaign, we get to know what you want to do. So the time you get into power, the first 2 years of power that you get into position, we need to check what has this person done. Is it in line with the promise the person made during the campaign? And if it is not, we remind the person, this is what you promised. We have not seen that. I think if like you said, if people can be charged with that responsibility, it will be good, because they can't give all that to the government to do. And remember, there's corruption everywhere. There's corruption everywhere. You can't give that to the government to do. The government also have the other tasks to deliver on. So I feel that if some set of people can be charged with that responsibility of checking and also setting reminder to let them know this is what you promised us, we've not seen that, and this is the second year in office. So with that, though, such person will be able to retrace his or her step and make sure that whatever project he will be doing will align with the promise he or she made earlier during the campaign. So like you said, everything still boils down to the people. The people as they have the yam and they have the knife. So, but the truth is, in order to make the people function well, we need the support of the government. Because if you say a certain number of people shadow themselves with that responsibility and they do that, once the government silence them, they say then there's a thing with power. Power intoxicates. I could be your friend today, and the moment I get into office tomorrow, anything can happen. Power changes people. So I think if people can come up with that, with the support of the government, this will go a long way. So we need ourselves, because we are also the government. The truth is, we need ourselves to make this work.
Okay, if there is this fear that the government is going to silence those who want to monitor them, and like in most cases in Africa, the government have the monopoly to violence, no? Okay,
Yeah.
actually, in many places, no. Then how do we solve that kind of problem? Because if I'm not free to tell you where you have gone wrong, then you are continuously go wrong, not knowing that you are going wrong. Then how can we move forward in that case? Based on your study, based on your understanding, what can we do there?
Well, with that, I would say that we need to align our thoughts together and talk as one. There's power in unity. That's the truth. By the time we've unified ourselves, regardless of our tribe, regardless of our culture, tradition, or whatever you cover, regardless of age, either you are young or old, you have experience I do not have, put all those things aside. We need to unify ourselves as one and make sure that whatever we are saying with one voice. They say that it's difficult to break a bunch of broom, but just remove a strand of broom, very easy for you to break it. So as a people, we should not leave room for gap. So by the time we find unity in our voice, we're able to align our thoughts well and speak as one. It will be very easy for us to stand our ground. With that, there's nothing the government can do to silence us. There is nothing the government can do. We saw that during the first subsidy during Jonathan regime, the people stood their ground. And yet the government had to back down. The ENSA protest is another example. The people stood their ground. So I think that the power is still within the people, and we need to stand our ground and also align our thoughts so that one will not be saying A, someone is saying F. We need to speak as one. So with that, we'll be able to overcome the challenges of government silence. No, that won't be possible anymore, because we are the people. We are the one that put the government into power. We give them that position. So if we say we do not want anymore, we can take it back.
All right, talking about the challenges, what do you think is even the challenges or the possibility of organizing the people that can speak one voice? Because now we can see that if we speak different voices, we cannot get result. But if we speak one voice, we can get result. Evidence is there. NSAS protest, this voice subsidy. What do you think is the challenge? Why the people might not find it possible to speak one voice? Maybe come 2023, since we are talking about election.
Well, the challenge can be the problem of trust. We not really get the actual part of what happened at the Lekki toll gates. We do not really get that. But the truth is, with what happened, fear is still in the heart of some people. And some people have made up their mind that if I die, I die. This Nigeria must be better. So there are two different kinds of people now. The people that have made up their mind to give their life for this country, and the people that are still in fear. So now the problem is trust. Can I still trust the government again? Even if I want to give all my all for this advocacy, would history not repeat itself again? And I think with this that, with that, a certain number of people are determined to make it work. But the truth is, they said iron sharpeneth iron. If a number of people that have made up their mind to make Nigeria work and they come out with one voice, before you know, someone will join from here, from there, from there, from there. With that, people started coming out. We just need one person to start that cause. You just need one person. And you see that the way it's going, people will join it in the conversation. With the way the ENSA protest started, we never know that it's going to be something that big. And before you know, Twitter is on fire, social media is on fire with that. Each state, each local government, each town, they're having a coalition of youth protesting. We do not want this anymore. We do not want that anymore. It just started with a person, with someone's ideology. And I think that needs to come up again. And with the talk on social media, with the number of youth that are coming out to campaign, they're aspiring, they are going into politics, I think the narrative is changing, and it's changing for a better cause this time around. It's changing for a better cause. So the challenge of that is being erased, but it might not be totally erased, but with time, we'll overcome that challenge.
Thank you so much for that. I like the hope.
Right.
We will overcome that with time. All right. Okay. Now, what would you recommend for other young Nigerians out there who are passionate about a better Nigeria? Because now we understand that we are actually the hope. I mean, referring to younger Nigeria, the future belongs to them.
Yes.
But they must grab that future. They must fight for that future. Nobody's going to give it to you. It's never going to happen. If you are waiting to be given to, you will grow old in this country. You will never smell it. But if you fight for it, it is your legitimate right. You can own it.
Yes.
You can own it. What is your message to them?
Well, I would say that as a youth, the future belongs to us. We have the power, and like you said, we should not expect that the power will be given to us, will be transferred to us. We need to make ourselves accountable. We need to make ourselves worthwhile that we are really, really ready for it. And that needs to show in our participation. It has to show in our zeal, in our interest and love for this country. So we cannot just wake up one morning and say you want to bring politics. We need to trace your records, and I think your interest, your love, your zeal for Nigeria needs to be exhibited with people around you. People around you can be able to vouch for you that I trust this person. This person has done this in our community. This person has impacted lives. You know, they say charity begins at home. Let us see that. Let us see that love you said you have for your country. Let us see that around you. Then we know that we can vouch for you that even if you get into politics today and you aspire for a position, we'll give you our all because you have proven that. So as a youth, we need to prove our worth. That's what I'm saying. And to get that, we don't get that through violence. We don't get that through violence. It should not be violence about it. We get that through dialogue. We get that through participation and advocacy. So with that, we are good to go.
What will be your final statement here to conclude it?
So my final statement, anytime I have the opportunity to talk about Nigeria, I'm so passionate about this country. I'm a citizen. I don't have a choice. I'm not a citizen of UK or US. I'm a citizen of this prestigious Nigeria. And I would say that the future is us. We are the future of this country. And who in Nigeria is you. So we need to work on ourselves to be better. With that, Nigeria will be better.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure on my part. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much. I actually enjoyed the conversation. In my mind, I was like, okay, probably to last for 30 minutes. And with the look of it, I think it's quite interesting and engaging. Thank you for the platform.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.